So, imagine you step outside your front door. You look down and the street is completely wet. You want to tell your friend what happened, but do you say it was raining or do you say it had been raining? Which tense is actually correct? It's a little tricky, right? Well, let's dive into this. Today, in this explainer, we're going to learn exactly how to choose between these two past tenses. By the end of our time together, you'll know exactly how to tell your stories perfectly in English.
Okay, first, let's look at the past continuous. We use this to talk about a long action in the past that gets interrupted by a short, sudden action. Imagine at 1 p.m. you start eating a delicious lunch. It's a long, continuous action. But suddenly, at 1:30 p.m., ring ring, your phone rings. That short action, the phone ringing, interrupts your long lunch, so you would say, I was eating when the phone rang.
Building this grammar is actually super simple. We just need a subject, the helping verb was or were, and our main action verb ending in ing. So if the subject is I, he, she, or it, we use was, like I was eating or he was sleeping. If the subject is you, we, or they, we just use were. They were cooking. See? It's a really simple pattern to remember.
But wait, be careful here. Here's a really common mistake a lot of beginners make. They say, I eating when the phone rang. Now this is incorrect. Why? Well, because without the word was, we just don't know when this happened. The helping verb was or were is kind of like a time machine. It tells the listener that this action belongs in the past. So the rule is to always include it. The correct way is, I was eating when the phone rang.
Okay, now it's your turn. Let's pause the explainer for a quick quiz. Fill in the blank for me. I blank sleeping when you arrived. Is it A, am, B, was, or C, had? Pause right now and say your answer out loud. I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, the correct answer is B, was. I was sleeping when you arrived. Great job if you got that one right.
Great, you just learned that rule. Next, let's try our other tense, the past perfect continuous. Imagine this. At 2 p.m., it starts raining. At 3 p.m., the rain completely stops. The action is totally finished, right? Then, at 3:15 p.m., you open your door and walk outside. So the long action happened and completely finished before the next action even started. And this brings us to a really cool rule. Even though the rain stopped completely, we can still see the evidence. You walk outside, and the ground is very wet. There are puddles everywhere. When a past action is totally finished, but it leaves clear evidence behind, like a wet street or maybe a trash can full of tissues because someone had been crying, we use the past perfect continuous. And guess what? Making this tense is incredibly easy. For every single subject, I, you, we, they, he, she, it, we use the exact same words, had been. Then we just add our action verb with ing. It had been raining. She had been crying. I had been cooking. You don't have to choose between two different words anymore. It's literally always just had been. Now here's another trap a lot of learners fall into. You might hear someone say it was raining, so the ground was wet. But remember, the rain isn't happening right now. It already stopped. We're just looking at the evidence, the wet ground. Because the action stopped before you saw the evidence, we have to use our new tense. The right way to say it is, it had been raining, so the ground was wet. Let's do another quick check to see if you're following along. True or false? Read this sentence. I had been cooking, so the food was ready on the table. Is this correct? Think about our rule of leaving evidence behind. Type your guess in the comments right now. I'll give you a second. 3, 2, 1. The answer is true. The cooking is totally finished, and the evidence is that delicious food waiting on the table. Right, moving on to our final rule. This one is super useful. We also use the past perfect continuous when we want to show exactly how long an action took. We want to show the duration. We do this by adding time words, like for 2 hours, for 5 days, or since this morning. This tells the listener that the action took a whole lot of time. Let me show you a real-life example. Imagine you're waiting for a friend at a coffee shop. You arrive at 10 a.m., you wait and wait and wait. Finally, at 12 p.m., your friend walks in. That is 2 whole hours of waiting. You're probably a little bit frustrated, right? You want your friend to know exactly how much time you spent sitting there. But be careful, because there's a big trap here too. A lot of beginners will say, I was waiting for 2 hours when you arrived. Actually, scratch that. This is a mistake. The moment we add a time, like for 2 hours, we cannot use the past continuous anymore. We have to switch. The absolutely correct sentence is, I had been waiting for 2 hours when you arrived.
Okay, let's test this time rule right now. Which sentence is correct? A, she had been studying for hours, or B, she was studying for hours. Look closely at the time words at the very end. Shout out your answer for me. 3, 2, 1. The correct answer is A. Because we added for hours to show duration, we absolutely must use had been. Fantastic job sticking with me through this.
All right, let's bring it all together and review. Here is a quick recap of the 3 major points from today's explainer. Number 1, I was eating when the phone rang. Use this for an interrupted action. Number 2, it had been raining. Use this when the action is finished, but you clearly see the evidence. And number 3, I had been waiting for hours. Use this when you want to show how long an action happened.
You're doing a fantastic job today. Now, it's time for our final quiz to make sure this is locked in your memory. Part 1. Fill in the blank. I blank washing my hair when the water stopped. Is this an interrupted action or is it showing duration? What do you think? Say it out loud. 3, 2, 1. The answer is was. I was washing my hair when the water stopped. It's a classic interrupted action.
Okay, ready for the last challenge? Part 2, spot the mistake in this sentence. Peter and Katie were going out for 7 years when they got married. Look really closely at the second half of that sentence. Remember the rule about showing time? 3, 2, 1. The mistake is we're going out. Because it says for 7 years, it must be Peter and Katie had been going out for 7 years when they got married.
And that brings us to the end of today's explainer. So, how did you do on all the quizzes today? Tell me your final score in the comments below. You know, language is kind of like a way to time travel. We use words to freeze moments from our past to share with our friends. Now that you have these new time-traveling tools, what past stories are you going to tell today? If this explainer helped make English grammar a little easier for you, be sure to subscribe. Keep practicing, and I'll see you next time.